So we start with the first lesson of operating system, that is operating system concepts. Now, before we actually start with the introduction with respect to operating system, let us first understand few of the terms which are related to operating system. Okay. Now, what do we call operating system as, or how do we define an operating system? Can anyone tell me any definition which you are aware of? Not exact definition, but what do you understand by the word operating system? Anybody? No one has heard what is operating system? Parth Patel? Okay, operating system helps the user to use with the hardware. Okay, so if I want to use the hardware of the system, so being a user, I cannot directly use the hardware wherever and whenever I want. I should have an intermediate called as operating system. Okay, that is somewhat correct. So let us see what is the correct definition of an operating system. It is a program that manages a computer hardware. So whatever hardware components my computer has, who is going to manage all those hardware components? It will be managed by the program, and that program is nothing but the operating system program. So if I have multiple So if I want to use the different kinds of hardware which are there in my system, how can I have the interaction of that hardware? I can have the interaction of that hardware with the help of this operating system. So now every one of us by now know what are the different hardware. We have keyboard as a hardware, we have mouse as a hardware, we may have hard disk as a hardware. If I use pen drive, that is a hardware. Then if the screen on which I'm observing the output, that is the hardware. So all these interaction the user is doing with the keyboard, with the mouse, with the pen drive, with the monitor is all done with the help of the operating system. If I do not have operating system, even if I try to press the keys on the keyboard, the keys will be pressed, but will I be able to see any kind of input accepted by the computer? No. Why? Because I am not having any visualization without the operating system. Okay, so it is a basis of application program and intermediate between a computer user and a computer hardware. So who lies between the user and the hardware? It is the operating system. So we say that whenever a user wants to communicate with the hardware, the user does not have any right to communicate directly. It has to go everything via an intermediate application program called as operating system. So we also call it as an intermediate program or an interface between the user and the hardware. So we all know that a computer system is divided into 4 parts, which are those: one is the hardware part, one is the software part, one is the application program, and on the other end we have a user. Now when we talk about operating system, what do we understand? That between point number 1, which is hardware, and between point number 4, which is user, both of them, as they cannot communicate directly, therefore we have point number 2 as an intermediate between them. But this point number 2 is divided into 2 types. One is the system software and one is the application software, also called as application programs. So when I say system software means what? All the device drivers, operating system software, all these are considered to be the system software. But when I talk about MS Word, when I talk about PowerPoint presentation, when I talk about Google Meet, Gmail, Drive, then Excel, all these becomes application programs. Okay, so if I have apps inside my system, they are called as application programs. So now this application program also requires a system software to work. So what is that system software? That system software is nothing but the operating system. So when I say point number 2, that point number 2 is divided into 2 types. One is system software called as SS and another is AP, that is application program or called as application software. So even if I have application, that is AS or AP, but if I do not have SS, still my system is not going to work. Why? Because who is the main with respect to all point number 1, 3 and 4, it is point number 2 or the system software. Is this understood up to here?
Yes.
Okay, so if I say how do you define operating system, you can say that it is an intermediate between the user and the hardware. And that intermediate operating system is divided into two things. One is the system software, which includes pure operating system and the device drivers related to the hardware. And one is the other part is the application software, which works dependent on the system software. So together, SS and AS becomes your operating system, which is used for interaction between the hardware and the user. So what is the hardware? Hardware is nothing but the CPU, all the memory devices, all the IO devices. What are your application program? As said, word processor, your Word file, PPT, Excel, Google Drive, Google Gmail, Classroom. All these are different types of application programs which are being used by the user to solve respective problems. Okay, so if I have a problem, we cannot say exactly a problem, but if I want to make use of a computer system, I can use that with the help of the application programs. So what is the function of this operating system over here? It controls the hardware and it coordinates the use among the different programs. So the function of the operating system is not only to have an interface between the user and the hardware, but after the interface is done, it should also control all the activities which are going to happen in between that hardware and the user. Okay. So we say that we have two views of operating system. Two types are different. Two types means those two concepts, system software and application software, those concepts are different. And we have different views of the operating system. One is from the user point of view and one is from the system point of view. Now let us see what is a user point of view. Front view with more ease to use and less resource utilization. Front view means what? Whatever I can see from front side is called as front view. Okay. Now when I make you to see a duster, what you can see from the front view is that it has a white color, white part on it, which is used for erasing. And on the back side, if I give a back view, it has a yellow color hard surface. Okay. But when if I want to make a different types of views, you might have heard there is 1D, 2D, 3D view like that. So if I say 2D, it is in two dimension, X and Y axis. If it is 3D, it is X, Y, Z like that. So same thing we have over here also. When I say user view means what? Whatever a user can see in front is considered to be as user view or a front view. When I say just observe the keyboards, so what you can observe in the front is that you have some keys, the function keys are different, number keys are different, alphanumeric keys are different, then arrow keys are different, control keys are different. But when I really open the keyboard, what do you have below the keyboards? You have the key switch, you have some circuits, you have LEDs where the light glows. So that becomes the inner part or the inner view. But when you see it from the front, what do you get to see is only the keys. So similarly, when a user views the operating system from the front end, what do you get to see, or what a user gets to see is that this is some software program which is very easy to use, and without that operating system, my computer is not going to work. So initially, when a user is viewing, there is very less resource utilization. Resource utilization means, before we talk about resource utilization, let us understand what is only resource. Okay. With respect to computer, what is a resource? A resource can be anything with respect to this. It can be any hardware, like CPU is a resource, memory is a resource, IO is a resource, application program is a resource. Inside that, Word file is a resource, PPT is a resource, Excel is a resource, Google Drive is a resource, like that. Okay. So operating system, whatever is used in the operating system, that everything is considered to be as a resource. If you connect two computers, those two computers will become resource. If you connect one computer, two hard drives, so computer and two hard drives becomes the resources. Okay. So whenever I see an operating system, I find it very easy to use with a very less utilization of the resources. So if there is a single user, what is going to happen? The only single user is using the system. So if I am using this laptop currently, so what is the view that a user can see? That there's only single user using the system. But it won't be every time the same. I can have single user also, I can have multi-users also. Multi-users means how? Like how when we are talking, it is multi-user. I am connected over a network where I am showing you this presentation. You are also seeing, I am also seeing, and we are sharing our thoughts. So this becomes a multi-user. So one single system is shared over a network. So the data which is there on my system right now is also shared by 67 other users who have joined this particular meet. Okay. So in that case, it becomes multi-user. But when I am not connected to a network and if I am using it only for my purpose, I will call it as a single user system. Okay. A user sits at the terminal and it is connected to a mainframe or a mini-frame computer. Now every one of us knows what is the generation of the computer. Mainframe computers were very large, then came the mini computers. So if there is only a single user who is sitting in front of computer is also called as terminal. So I am connected either to mini computer or to the mainframe computer. So it was olden days, so it were connected through mainframe computers. But now we don't have any mainframe computers. All the computers are mini computers, where other users are accessing the same computer from other terminal. So now what is this point? You as a user are accessing the same terminal which is shared by me over the network. So this becomes the multi-user line, and the previous line where the user is only user is connected becomes a single user. They are used for sharing the resources and information. So when I am in a multi-user environment, what do? I don't only keep the information with me, I share the information also. Along with it, I can share resources also. Okay. Now, what kind of resources I can share? If I have something important in my pen drive, I can plug that pen drive into my system. I can give the access to that pen drive, the access to the information inside the pen drive to you also, and then you can access it from your end also. Many of us might be using or might have been used some resource sharing applications like AnyDesk. Have you heard any of this term like AnyDesk, TeamViewer and all? Any one of you?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, क्या करता है वो AnyDesk? अगर मेरे कंप्यूटर में कुछ डेटा है and I want to share it immediately to you, and if I am not able to do it through Gmail or through any other kind of activity, what I will do is I will just open that AnyDesk application in my computer. I will share the user ID with you, and you can access the entire computer along with the screen, along with all icons and all the data at your end, sitting at your place wherever you are with the computer that you are having. So we call that as resource sharing, and what we are doing right now is nothing but information sharing. Okay. It assures maximum utilization of CPU and IO. How come there is a maximum utilization of CPU? Because whatever data that I have stored in my CPU is utilized by 67 other users also, which are there in this particular meet. So I am not making my CPU sit idle, but I am making my CPU work by giving this resource sharing or by providing this information to multiple users connected over the network. Okay. Is this user view understood to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So our second view was system view. So user view को क्या दिखता है कि ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम वेरी इजी है. You just click, राइट क्लिक करो तो कुछ ओपन हो जाएगा, लेफ्ट क्लिक करो कुछ ओपन हो जाएगा, डबल क्लिक करो, अगेन application will get over. If you want to share it, you can share it. So by using those small menus and that GUI, users find it very easy to use the system. Now, what is a system view? That means from a system point of view, what the operating system actually is. Okay. So from system point of view, operating system is a program involved with hardware. So user को पता है क्या कि मैं डायरेक्टली कनेक्टेड हूँ क्या ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम के साथ, या मैं डायरेक्टली हार्डवेयर के साथ कनेक्टेड हूँ क्या? नहीं, यूजर को कुछ नहीं पता. यूजर ने क्लिक किया, कुछ तो हो गया, किसने किया, यूजर डज नॉट नो. But who is actually going to work with respect to operating system is a system view. सिस्टम का काम है कि जैसे यूजर ने कुछ तो क्लिक किया, जो भी क्लिक किया वो काम बराबर होना चाहिए. So that is being handled by whom? By the system view of the operating system. So actual work of accepting the user input, making it connected to the given hardware is the work done by the operating system. Okay. So we also call this operating system as resource allocator. Resource allocator क्यों? Because when a user is giving the input, वो इनपुट कौन ले रहा है? पहले कौन? ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम ले रहा है. ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम लेके वो किसको अलोकेट कर रहा है? रिस्पेक्टिव हार्डवेयर को अलोकेट कर रहा है. Therefore it is called as resource allocator. Now we can take very simple example of our class also. If I want to give some important notice or if I want to give some important information, what is the first thing if I can do is I can come in the class and make an announcement to everybody at the same time. If I do not want to do that, what is the second thing? I can appoint a CR. I will call that CR, give the information to the CR and say, see, it is a duty of a CR to tell that information to the students. So what is the CR in our case? That will become a resource allocator. So I have given the resource information to CR. Now it is a duty of CR to allocate that resources to the remaining students in the class. Okay. So who is that CR? That is nothing but acting as an operating system between the user, me, and the hardware, which are you all at the other end. Okay. So if a computer Now, as I said, the computer has many resources. Computer itself is a resource. If I attach pen drive, that becomes a resource. If I attach hard disk, that becomes a resource. If I put CD, that becomes a resource. So एक बार मैंने pen drive डाल दिया, who is going to detect that pen drive? It will be first accepted as an input by the operating system. Operating system will allocate the resource of opening that particular hard disk by the respective ports as a hardware, and then you can see the data on your this PC or into your partitions of the drive. Okay, so as soon as anything as an input is being given to the computer, it is a duty of operating system first to understand what that input is, and once that input is being understood, it has to allocate that input to respective hardware so that the hardware does the proper functioning. Now, in between these three things, that is in between the user, operating system and the hardware, we also somewhere have a CPU. Why? Because if I do not have a CPU, is any three of them going to perform the brain work? No. Why? Because they do not have any capability. Neither user का तो सवाल ही नहीं है, user cannot do brain activity. Operating system also cannot do any brain activity. Neither hardware can do any brain activity. But if I say CPU as a hardware, then the brain activity will be performed by that particular CPU. Okay, so in this, along with the hardware along with hardware, user and operating system, one important part of the hardware is the CPU, which is going to do all the execution work with respect to user acceptance of input, allocating the resource by the operating system, and then performing the execution, and then again giving the output in the form of a hardware to the user. Okay. So operating system is a manager of these resources. Why it is called as manager? Because operating system का ही काम है कि जो भी resources आया उसको appropriate hardware को दे दूँ. Therefore, it is also called as resource allocator, or it is also called as manager. And this entire process or entire thing is called as controlling program. The entire program, right from the input to the output, will be done by whom or will be managed by whom? It will be managed by the operating system. But which part? The internal system part of the operating system, not the user part. यूजर का पार्ट किधर खत्म हो जाता है? जब भी इनपुट दे दिया, यूजर का पार्ट खत्म. वापस यूजर का पार्ट कभी आएगा? जब उसका आउटपुट देखना होगा तभी. ओके. So what is this control program going to do? The control program will activate the hardware CPU and it will manage the execution of that program. And once the execution is done, it will see that the output is displayed on the screen for the user. Okay, is this understood up till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next we have is the organization of computer. Now we have already studied the entire book on computer organization, so we won't be going in detail. We have different types of memories. What are those? We have RAM and ROM. Okay, ROM क्या है? It is only read-only purpose memory, where I can store the data permanently, and it is written by whom? Not by the user, but by the manufacturer. Okay, so some part of the operating system is there inside this ROM also. Therefore, you are not allowed to change. Can you write operating system on your own? Can we code operating system? No. The person who is a manufacturer or who knows how to develop an operating system, only that person has a right to give or input the data inside this ROM. Where we can play with, we can only play with RAM. जो भी user को काम करना है, saving, deleting, creating, storing can be done with respect to RAM. Even if a user wants to play with a ROM, we have to use different hierarchies of ROM. That is PROM, EPROM, double EPROM. I hope you remember all this. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Then we also have something called as bootstrap program. Anyone has any idea what is bootstrap program? Any one of you, what is bootstrap program? No one? Yes or no at least? Yes, Pratham. बोलो क्या है bootstrap program? It is a bootloader. But what does it load? Why are you not unmuting and talking?
Ma'am, it loads the operating system during its startup and it initializes it.
Yes. So what is a bootstrap program? It is a program which is used as soon as you start the computer system. तो मैंने जब कंप्यूटर सिस्टम को स्टार्ट किया, सबसे पहली चीज क्या चालू होती है आपके कंप्यूटर सिस्टम में? इट इज अ बूटस्ट्रैप प्रोग्राम. व्हाट इज द फंक्शन ऑफ दैट बूटस्ट्रैप प्रोग्राम? इट हैज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज MBR. What is that MBR? It is a master boot record. ठीक है। तो जो बूटस्ट्रैप प्रोग्राम के अंदर MBR है, वो MBR का ड्यूटी है ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम को लोड करो. So once your bootstrap program is started, MBR will load the operating system, and then only you can see that interface on your computer screen. Okay, that is what is a bootstrap program. So first thing when the computer starts is a bootstrap program, followed by then all your memories are loaded, your hard disk is started, all your fan is started, and all the other components are started. Okay, now it is loaded into the memory of OS kernel. Now, right now you will not understand what is this kernel. As soon as we come to the end of this chapter, you will understand what is kernel. Now, we all know that there are multiple types of operating system. Windows is an operating system, Android is an operating system, iOS is an operating system, then Mac is operating system, Linux is operating system, Unix is operating system. Every operating system has its own structure, has its own architecture. Okay. And if I say Linux and Unix, since I will be focusing more on Linux and Unix because in the next semester you have Linux in deep. Okay, so apart from all the operating system, we will concentrate much more on Linux. Okay. So when I talk about Linux and Unix, उसका जो structure है, उसमें का एक part है which is called as kernel. Now you might have started with microprocessor in your theory. 8085 एक microprocessor है, उसका खुद का एक architecture है. 8086 microprocessor है, उसका खुद का एक architecture है. So like how every processor is having its own structure, design and architecture, similarly every type of operating system has its own structure and has its own architecture. So when I talk about kernel, तो ये kernel किस operating system का part है? It is a part of your Linux and Unix operating system. What is the duty of that kernel? That we will see when we come ahead. Okay. So what is the function? जब भी operating system load होता है, तो what is getting loaded into the memory? It is this kernel part which is getting loaded inside the memory. Okay. The occurrence of any event is signaled by the interrupt. Interrupt क्या है? Every one of us knows now. It was done in C also. कि अगर when I'm working something or when I'm executing something, and if anything with high priority comes, it is considered to be as interrupt. So if it is of high priority, I have to go and complete that priority. If it is of not higher priority, I can decide whether I have to go continue with the same program or do the interrupt. Okay. So in operating system also, whenever any event is getting occurred, how that event is being understood internally by the computer, it is understood internally with the help of interrupt. ठीक है. तो अगर CPU addition of two numbers execute कर रहा है और बीच में subtraction of two numbers आ गया, तो वो सिस्टम को कैसे बताएगा कि अभी एडिशन के साथ सब्सट्रैक्शन भी आया है? विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस इंटरप्ट. कंसिडरिंग सब्सट्रैक्शन प्रोग्राम इज अ इवेंट, हाउ इज द एंट्री ऑफ दैट इवेंट अंडरस्टूड बाय द सिस्टम? बाय द जनरेशन ऑफ द इंटरप्ट. ओके, आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next we have a storage structure. Now we know what are the few storage in our systems. We have RAM as a storage, we have hard disk as a storage, then we can have external storages like CDs, DVDs, pen drives and many more. Okay, let us revise those storage again. So CPU can load an instruction from memory. This is known to you. कि अगर कोई भी प्रोग्राम मुझे एग्जीक्यूट करना है तो वो प्रोग्राम पहले किधर है? It is in the memory. I have to load that program from the memory inside the CPU and then only the CPU can execute. CPU खुद जाके ढूंढेगा नहीं कि वो प्रोग्राम किधर है. वो प्रोग्राम मेमोरी में होना चाहिए. मेमोरी का काम है उसको CPU में लोड करो और बाद में CPU एग्जीक्यूट करेगा. ओके. Any program that wants to be executed has to be compulsorily brought inside the memory. Okay. Now, do you know what is the hierarchy of the memory? If you remember in the CO, is it done or not about cache memory and all? कैश मेमोरी, मेन मेमोरी, सेकेंडरी मेमोरी हुआ है क्या?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ. So what is the hierarchy? Very first we have a cache memory with us. After cache memory we have main memory, that is RAM, and after RAM we have a secondary memory which is hard disk. So अगर CPU को कोई भी प्रोग्राम एग्जीक्यूट करना है या कोई भी प्रोग्राम को सेव करना है सिस्टम में, तो what is happening? First it will try to put inside the cache memory. Why? Because it is inside the processor itself and it is not going to take much time to load. Therefore, it is going to search it in the cache memory itself. Since cache memory is in KBs, so we cannot store much of the information. तो अगर एक बार कैश मेमोरी फुल हो गया, so where your data is going to get stored next, it will be continued in the main memory, which is RAM. Now RAM also, if it is of more GBs, it is okay. अगर कम GB का है तो RAM भी full हो सकता है. So if RAM is also filled up, or if the data is not found in RAM, where the next search will happen, it will happen in the secondary storage, which is your hard disk. उधर भी नहीं मिला means what, system में वो program है ही नहीं. Similarly, this was what was this step for storing the data or for searching the data. अभी जब भी मुझे डेटा लोड करना है, प्रोग्राम ऑलरेडी सिस्टम में है और उसको एग्जीक्यूट करवाना है सीपीयू के पास. So what will the system do? It will first search the data inside the CPU itself. Why? Because it will take less time to search the data in CPU. अगर उसको सीपीयू के कैश मेमोरी में मिला तो तुरंत एग्जीक्यूट हो जाएगा, नहीं मिलेगा तो इट विल गो एंड सर्च इन रैम. If RAM में भी नहीं मिला, it will go and search in secondary memory. Secondary में भी नहीं मिला, this means what? The program is not there in the system, hence cannot be executed. But if it has found the program in main memory, it will not unnecessarily go and search in secondary also. Why? Because for whatever the system was searching, that search has been completed and it has been found in the main memory only. So एक बार अगर search खत्म हो गया, so the system will not continue in all the remaining parts. It will stop the search there, complete the execution and produce the output to the user. Okay, so we know that which memories we have. We have RAM. That RAM can be either SRAM or DRAM, but in general, most specifically, we make use of DRAM. I hope you remember the working of SRAM and DRAM. Every memory has an address. Do you know this? If I have a program, addition of two numbers, where is that program? It is going to store in a memory. How am I supposed to access from the memory? With the help of memory address. Do you remember 0000 is a memory at starting of the memory address? Then comes 0001, 0002 and so on. Do you remember all this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So every program is stored in the memory, and how it has been accessed? It has been accessed by the memory address. Okay. Then we have some instructions like load and store instructions. What are that load and store? Load means the program will be loaded for execution. Store means execution is completed and now it wants the result to be stored. So when I say load, when I say load means what? It is trying to take the program for execution, and store means it is trying to store the result. So it may happen that in one program you have multiple load and multiple store. This may be with respect to different variables. Now when I say addition of two numbers, how many variables will I require? It depends now on the user. I may use 2, I may use 3. When I use 3, 2 variables are used for accepting the input, 1 is used for storing the result. So if I say A, B and C, so A and B are what? They are the 2 variables which will give me the input. Value of A will be 5, value of B will be 3. So I will load A, load B. Load A मतलब value 5 को load करो. Load B मतलब value 3 को load करो. फिर 5 plus 3 perform करो 8, उसको store करो C में. That is nothing but your result. Okay, so every program has this load and store instruction. So it depends on what program it is. Many may have more than one load, many may have more than one store also. What does load do? It moves from main memory to internal register in CPU. So मेरा program जो main memory में है, वहाँ से A का value उठाओ, जो 5 है, और उसको CPU को दो for execution. B का value उठाओ, load करो, is equal to 3, give it to the CPU for execution. What is store? 5 plus 3 addition CPU ने कर दिया 8. इधर store करो, again from the register put it back inside the main memory. तो जब result user ढूंढेगा, वो पहले cache में ढूंढेगा, नहीं मिला तो it will go and search in main memory. Okay? Is this understood? What is load and store? Load from main memory, execute and again put it back inside the main memory. What is the extension of the main memory? Extension of your main memory is secondary memory. तो अगर आपका suppose इधर main memory full हो गया, so this MM can be replaced by SM also. What is that SM? It is nothing but the secondary memory. Is it understood?
Yes.
Do you know what is the hierarchy of the storage devices? We had learned this. We had magnetic tapes, magnetic disk, then comes cache memory, then comes main memory, and then comes the secondary memory. So that is how hierarchy goes. First, it starts from smaller, magnetic tape, magnetic disk and cache, which is in KB. Then comes your main memory, which is in MBs or GB. Then comes your secondary memory, which is in GB or TBs. Okay? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we have something called as IO structure. What does IO stands for? Input output. So does the computer require input and output? Yes, it requires input and output. Input is taken from the user, processed, and again the output is given back to the user. Once the output is given, it is a choice of a user whether to store it inside the system or not. If it wants to store, it will either get stored in this SM or MM. Okay. Now we have seen, or we had seen this in computer organization about SCSI. Do you remember this SCSI bus? Small computer system interface bus. Do you remember? नहीं तो नहीं बोलो ना, I will explain, but at least respond. Acha, you remember. Okay. So let me see. Dhruv, can you tell me what do you remember from SCSI? Unmute. Dhruv.
Ma'am, me?
Dhruv
Yes,
Tiwari.
yes, ma'am. Yes,
हाँ
ma'am.
बोलो Dhruv. What do you remember about SCSI?
Ma'am, SCSI is used to connect peripheral devices.
Okay, but then I can use PCI also. Then what is external for SCSI or what is new for SCSI? Does
I
anyone know?
don't remember that, ma'am.
Acha, anybody else? Dishant, Nishit, do you remember? No, acha. I will make you remind that if I have multiple peripheral devices, that is 16 or more than 16, then I make use of SCSI bus. If I have less than 16, I can use the PCI or the other local buses. So what is the advantage of this SCSI? If I have more than 16 or total 16 devices, IO devices, I can connect them by using this SCSI bus. Now, did you all remember? This point was being told to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is the reason of using SCSI. Okay. Then you have two things with respect to IO: device controller and device drivers. What is device controller? Moving the data between peripheral devices and controlling them. ठीक है, since the name is device controller, तो वो क्या कंट्रोल करेगा? जो भी डेटा डिवाइस और सिस्टम के बीच में घूम रहा है, उसको किसको कंट्रोल करना है? डिवाइस ड्राइवर को कंट्रोल करना है. ठीक है. डिवाइस ड्राइवर क्या होता है? Whenever I want to use any device, that for using those devices, I have to install a software of that particular device. So when I say installing of the software is nothing but the device driver. बहुत टाइम आपने देखा होगा, if you insert any new device, it will ask you for a pop-up, insert or install device drivers. Most commonly nowadays it is automatically download हो जाता है, but many a times it asks you whether do you want to install it. So if you click on install, तो वो अपने आप download करता है device drivers. Okay. But what is the use of the device driver is, to use that device, you have to install the software of that device. Once the software has been installed, you can use the devices. And this has to be done only once. ठीक है. अभी आपने new keyboard लाया और new keyboard को attach किया, तो अगर उसका डिवाइस ड्राइवर एक ही बार इंस्टॉल किया, तो नेक्स्ट टाइम जब आप कनेक्ट करोगे तब आपको बार बार वो ड्राइवर डालने की जरूरत नहीं है. क्यों? क्योंकि आपने एक बार उसका काम कर दिया है. ओके. नाउ वंस द डिवाइस ड्राइवर इज बीन installed, you as a user will be able to use the devices, but who will be controlling the data between the keyboard and the system? It will be controlled by this controller. Okay. So every IO device has a controller and has a driver. Driver is used for using that particular device, and controller is used for controlling the movement of data between the device and the computer. Okay. So to start any IO operation, the device driver loads the register in the device controller. तो पहले ड्राइवर एक्टिवेट होगा, वो डेटा किसको लोड करेगा? इट विल लोड इट इनटू द कंट्रोलर. कंट्रोलर विल एग्जामिन द कंटेंट एंड डिसाइड व्हाट एक्शन हैज टू बी परफॉर्म. तो जब भी मैंने की ABCD प्रेस किया, तो पहले मैंने कीबोर्ड कनेक्ट किया, इसलिए डिवाइस ड्राइवर ऑलरेडी लोड हो चुका था. Therefore, I am able to use that keyboard and I am able to press ABCD. Now, when the keyboard is attached, driver is installed, and now when I am pressing ABCD, it is a duty of whom to take that ABCD and give it to the computer for performing the next action, it is done by the device controller. Why? Because ABCD is considered to be as a data which is going to move from that keyboard to the computer. Okay. After completing the task, after completion of transfer, the DC informs the DD through the interrupt. तो अगर ये ABCD टाइप होके प्रिंट हो गया तो कीबोर्ड को कौन बताएगा? Device controller will generate an interrupt to the device driver, and then the device driver will be informed that whatever you had typed was being displayed on the screen for the user. Okay, is this understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Next we have is operating system operations. How does your operating system is going to operate? Now we call that operating systems are interrupt driven. Why they are interrupt driven? Because we just saw that whenever any event is going to happen, how is that event going to be generated with the help of interrupt? Interrupt आया कंप्यूटर में, मतलब क्या समझना है कि ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम के पास कोई तो एक इवेंट आया है टू परफॉर्म एनी पर्टिकुलर टास्क. If there is no process, or if there is no IO, or if there is no user, operating system will sit quietly until any action is performed. तो अभी अगर यूजर इनपुट नहीं दे रहा है, सिस्टम के पास कोई प्रोग्राम भी नहीं है एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए, neither it has received any input or output from any of the IO device. At that time, what will operating system do? Operating system के पास कुछ काम नहीं है, so it is going to sit idle. When operating system will be activated whenever any interrupt or whenever any event occurs. Okay, so when I want to start the execution of a program, what will I do? I will open my Turbo C. I will give a instruction to run the program. At that time, what will happen? Operating system will receive the interrupt, and when the operating system receives the interrupt from the user action, it will activate the appropriate hardware, and then that hardware will perform the work of execution. So if there is no input from the user end, no action from the user end, there is no interrupt received by the operating system. Since there is no interrupt received, operating system is lying down simply by doing no work. Once the interrupt is being received, operating system is activated and it is performing the job. Okay? Yes or no? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, when I say that operating system is performing the operations, those operations are dual mode operation. Dual mode means it is operating in two modes. Which is that two modes? One is the user mode and another is the kernel mode. User mode मतलब क्या? User execution. Kernel mode मतलब क्या? Operating system execution. Okay. So kernel mode is also called as supervisor mode or system mode or privileged mode. Okay. In order to ensure a proper execution of operating system, there has to be difference in operating system code and user code. ठीक है, अगर मैं जब भी इनपुट दे रही हूँ एज अ प्रोग्राम टू एग्जीक्यूट, सिस्टम को समझना चाहिए कि यूजर का प्रोग्राम कौन सा है और ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम का काम क्या है. So how is this two things separated? They are separated by using some codes. Which are those codes? The codes are 0 and 1. So when I say 0, it is in the operating system mode, which is kernel mode, or supervisor mode, or system mode, or privilege mode. When the code is 1, it is in the user mode. What happens? Your system continuously switches from 0 to 1, 1 to 0, 0 to 1, and 1 to 0. Initially, it is in 1. That is when a user wants to give a program for execution. So I am in mode 1. मैंने input देके हो गया. Now the transfer will become from 1 to 0. क्यों? क्योंकि मेरा काम हो चुका है. अभी काम गया operating system के पास. It will remain in 0 till it completes its execution. Operating system CPU को देगा, CPU देखेगा उसको कुछ resources चाहिए क्या, resource चाहिए तो वो resource लाके देगा, नहीं चाहिए तो वो बिना resource लाए program execute करेगा. Program execution हो गया. अभी it has to display the output to the user. So from 0 again it will shift back to 1. Why? Because now operating system का काम हो चुका है, system का काम हो चुका है, अभी जो है वो user का काम है. So again it is going to shift into the mode 1. So when it is shifting back to mode 1, that means it is in the user mode, and now the user can see the output on the screen. So when a user programs are executed, it is in 1, other time it is in 0. Are you understanding? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so whenever I as a user is using the system, it will be in mode 1, but when it is system using the, or when there is operating system using the system, it is in the mode 0, which is called as kernel mode. Why it is kernel mode? Because kernel is a part of a structure of the operating system. Therefore, it is called as kernel mode. Okay. Now, we also have one thing called as timer inside the system. Operating system has to control the CPU execution. CPU का execution कौन control करता है? Operating system. That means whatever work a computer is doing, everything is being controlled by operating system. Okay, so let it be CPU execution, IO execution, user with CPU, user with IO, everything is being done by OS. Now, to avoid the user program for infinite loop and fail the user uses timer. What does this mean? Now, if I want to avoid the user program for infinite loop, अभी user का program क्या है? Addition of two numbers. तो उसने क्या करना चाहिए? It should accept the first number 5, accept the second number 3, execute 2 plus 5 plus 3 8, and stop. Store it in the memory, display it to the output to the user, and stop. For example, if there is any failure in the system, or in case of any other issue, if the program is running again and again, मतलब वो 8 display कर रहा है, वापस execute करके वापस 8 display कर रहा है, again it is executing 8. That means if it is going in a loop because of any reason, of any failure and all, how is the system going to understand that this is happening in a loop or there is some kind of failure? Because of the use of this timer. So if I have this timer, then only I can understand whether the program has gone into the loop or it has occurred in some kind of failure. And because of that timer, I can avoid happening of such kind of loops or such kind of failure. The timer can be set to interrupt the computer after a specific period. So if I have set a timer as 1 hour, okay, so what will happen if I execute a program, say program of addition of two numbers, so अगर वो 1 घंटे के अंदर हो गया तो it is okay. But if it is running continuously, for example, ये से infinite loop में चला गया, so what will happen in 1 hour? Up till 1 hour it will execute in infinite loop. It may continue for 2 hours also, 3 hours also. But if I have a timer, what will the timer do? What is the time set? 1 hour. So 1 hour के बाद वो क्या करेगा? It is going to generate an interrupt. What will that interrupt check? That interrupt will check whether everything is working properly or not. So when it will check, it will come across that there is some program which is getting executed in infinite loop. So since it has identified that there is a program which is getting executed in this infinite loop, so it can stop that execution. So with the help of this timer, I am checking the entire system or all the programs which are getting executed by the operating system with the help of CPU. In case if I remove this timer, will I ever understand what is happening in the system? वो continuously 8 print करके मैं system भी बंद कर दूँ. जब भी वापस start करूँगी, वापस वो 8 output देते ही जाएगा. So what is the use of using this timer is, I am checking all the activities with respect to operating system, and if in case there is any such kind of failure with respect to any parts, or if there is any kind of failure with respect to any user program, I am making the system aware through this particular timer. So if you want, you can decrease the time of a timer. If you want, you can increase the time of the timer. Okay? Is this understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let us see the next part now, process management. If you remember when I explained you about, or when I gave you the brief about the operating system syllabus, I told you one thing, that every program inside the operating system, it's called as process. When it is called as process, when it starts the execution. So अगर मैंने अभी program लिखा है addition of two numbers, so I will call it as a program only. But जब मैंने उसको system में run button दबा दिया, no, that particular line of instructions are not called as program, they will be called as process. Why? Because they have started the execution. So any program which has started the execution is always called to be as process inside the computer system. So addition of two numbers is a program if it is not started the execution, but if the execution is started, I will call it as a process. Similarly, running this Booth's algorithm will be a program, but as soon as the program has started accepting the numbers, giving the calculation and doing the output, I will call it as a process. Okay. Now every process uses some resources of the system. Now we all know what these resources are: CPU, time, memory, files, IO devices, anything which you connect extra or which are there inside the system, any of the hardware is considered to be as a resource. Now why is this process going to use the resource? Process CPU का time use करेगा क्या? Yes. Why it will use? Because it wants CPU for the execution. So it is utilizing CPU time. Will it utilize memory? Yes, to take the program from the memory and to store the data in the memory. Will it use the IO devices? Yes, many programs may have accepting the input from the user during runtime. At that time I will use input device. Will it use output device? Yes. Why will it use to display the output? So every program or every process which has started the execution is going to use these system resources, some in some or the other way. These resources are given to process with the help of two terms called as creation or execution. ये जो resources है CPU, time, memory, IO devices and all, ये सारे resources process को मिलते हैं. कभी मिलते हैं during a time of creation and during the time of execution. तो जब process create होगा तभी ये सब devices मिलेगी, या फिर जब process execute होगा तभी ये devices मिलेगी. एक बार execute हो गया तो ये सारे resources उससे निकाल दिए जाएंगे और किसी और process को दिए जाएंगे. Okay? Program is a passive entity and process is an active entity. Passive means what? It is not more used. Active means what? It is currently being used. So program becomes passive. Sorry, the program becomes passive and process becomes active. क्यों process active है? क्योंकि जब भी execution start होता है तो हम program को program नहीं बुलाते. We call it as a process. Therefore, program becomes passive and process becomes active. Are you understanding this? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now every process has a thread. What is that thread that we will do in this chapter? Just remember that every process, जो भी program एक बार execution को start हो गया, we call process, and हर एक process को एक thread रहता है. It may be a single thread or multi threads. Single thread मतलब एक ही shot में program run हो जाएगा. Multiple thread means multiple times में program run होगा. पहले 4 लाइन, फिर 4 लाइन, फिर 10 लाइन ऐसे. Okay? So if it is single thread, in one shot the program is going to be executed. If it is multiple threads, it may take multiple steps to complete the execution. Every thread, if it is multiple thread, every thread has a program counter. If it is single thread, there will be only single program counter. Can anyone tell me what is program counter?
Ma'am, it points towards next instruction.
Yes, it is pointing towards the next instruction to be executed. So if my first instruction is load A, तो जब भी A load हो रहा है, program counter किधर जाएगा? Next instruction load B को. Okay? So every thread that in the program will have a program counter. Now we have some of the activities related to process. Process क्या है? What is process? What is process?
Program under execution.
Yes, a program under execution is called as process. So what activities that process can perform? We can have scheduling of a process. Scheduling of a process means कौन सा process कभी run होगा, उसके बाद कौन सा होगा, उसके बाद कौन सा होगा, that is called as scheduling. So if I have 4 processes P1, P2, P3, P4, so I may have execution like P1, P2, P3, P4, or may I have execution like P4, P3, P2, P1. तो जैसे मैं execute करूँगी, I will call it as scheduling. Okay. Then I have scheduling the threads. Now what did we discuss here? Every process has a thread. It may be single or it may be multiple. तो अगर multiple है तो I have to schedule those multiple threads also. कि पहले T1, T2, T3, T4 होगा, कि पहले T4, T3, T2, T1 होगा. Okay, that is what is called as scheduling of the threads. Then every process is created. Every process is created means every process or a program is first written. Can I delete the process? Yes. It may be after execution or it may be before execution also. Can I suspend the process? Suspend means what? Can I stop the execution of a process in between? Yes. If I don't wish, I can stop. That is what is called as suspend. Can I resume if I want to restart? Can I start any execution of a program again? Yes. That is what is called as resuming. Synchronization means what? I am going to, if it is multiple threads, I will be synchronizing all the threads together so that I get single output with respect to entire program and not with respect to single threads. Communication means what? It might happen that a program requires some IO device. Now when will a program require IO device? Suppose मैंने pen drive insert किया है and I am going to execute the program which is there in the pen drive. So is the data in the main memory? नहीं. Is the data in the secondary memory? नहीं. Is the data in the cache memory? नहीं. It is there in the external storage. So when I execute this program, what is happening? CPU is going to search where first? In the cache, not found in main memory, not found in secondary memory, not found then in pen drive. So communication means what? A program can communicate with such external devices or IO devices also as and when required. It will not be happen that every time your program is in the computer. It may be into any of the external devices also. So in such case, we require a communication of a computer with those IO devices, or a communication of program with those IO devices. Okay, so it is not always internal communication. Many a times it is external communication also. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we have something called as memory management. Do you remember the memory management unit of your computer organization? Yes or no? Do you remember? Nobody is replying also. If you don't reply, no. हाँ क्या है? Only these 2 students reply. क्यों बाकी सबने ऐसे ही एग्जाम दी क्या एक दूसरे को फोन करके कॉपी करके? Dishant, what is memory management unit? Or what was there in memory management unit?
And segmentation and paging unit.
Paging, correct. So you have 2 different types of units within your computer system who's going to manage your memory. One concept is paging, one is segmentation. So in operating system, we are going to study both of them in detail. कि paging कैसे काम करेगा, segmentation कैसे काम करेगा. Okay, but which is the main thing inside your memory, or which is the main part of the memory inside your operating system? It is always RAM. Okay, what is the function of that RAM? To store the data. So data can be in the form of bits, bytes, or word. Okay, it may be small in terms of bits, it may be large as good as words. So every memory that is being used in the computer system has its own address, starting with 0000, where the data is stored. So if I want to access any data, I have to first access the address and then I can go to the data. How is that data accessed? By performing the cycle called as read and write. So whenever I want to take the data, I will perform the read operation. After the data execution is completed, whenever I want to give it as an output to the user, I perform write operation. Okay? So read means read the data for execution. Write means write the result after the execution is being completed. Okay? What activities is your memory management going to do? Keep a track of which part of a memory is used by whom and when it is used. So if I have multiple user login in my system, say suppose login as Dishant can login as Nishit. So Dishant ने कितना memory use किया, कभी-कभी use किया, I will keep a track of that also. As well as Nishit ने कितना memory part use किया, कभी use किया, I will keep a track of that also. I means operating system. So operating system keeps a track of which memory is used by whom and at what particular time. Okay. Second is what? It will decide which process and data to move in and out of memory. अगर मैंने प्रोग्राम दिया है एडिशन ऑफ 2 नंबर एग्जीक्यूट करने को, तो ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम कौन सा एग्जीक्यूट करेगा? एडिशन ऑफ 2 नंबर ही एग्जीक्यूट करेगा. उसके अलावा अगर मेरे पास सब्सट्रैक्शन है, मल्टीप्लिकेशन है, डिवीजन है, so operating system will not automatically select any of the program and start its execution. It has to decide that which process or a program has to be loaded into the memory and which has to be executed from the memory. Which is being selected? The one which the user has given the command for. Okay. Then it also has a duty of allocation and deallocation. Allocation and deallocation means अगर मैंने new program लिखा, so I will be saving that program somewhere. If I want, I can store it in desktop, C drive, D drive, F drive, wherever you want. So when I'm storing it, I am allocating the space to that program. So if I store it in desktop, तो मैंने क्या किया? Desktop का some part of the memory is allocated for that program. If the execution is completed, if the output is being given to me, and if I do not want to use that anymore, what I will do is I will delete that. So when I delete it from the memory, from the desktop, again that space is given back. जितना utilize हुआ था उतना वापस free हो गया. So that is what is called as deallocation. So whenever a program is created, a memory is allocated. Whenever a program is deleted, the memory is deallocated. Who does this work of allocation and deallocation? It is done internally by the computer system. You don't have to check, or user don't have to give any command to मेरे को इतना space चाहिए, data इतना deallocation के लिए चाहिए, nothing. You just have to create. It will be internally done by the system. Understood? Next we have is storage management. Operating system provides a logical view of information storage. Logical, now see, every data which is stored has some different types of views. What are those views? Most commonly are read, write and execute. Read matlab anybody can read. Write, anybody can write. Execute, anybody can execute. Now this depends on the user what permission it has given. For example, I just said कि मेरे पास system है जिसमें 2 login है, one is with Dishank, one is with Nishit. तो Dishank की जो files है, suppose Dishank has made a file operating system assignment 1. Now if this file Dishank has kept it open मतलब उसको read भी रखा है, write भी रखा है, execute भी रखा है. So what can Nishit do? अगर Nishit के पास उसका password है login का, so Nishit can log in and access that file. क्यों वो एक्सेस कर सकता है? क्योंकि दिशांक ने क्या सेट किया है, रीड भी दे दो, राइट भी दे दो, एग्जीक्यूट भी दे दो. मतलब निश्चित उसके फाइल में आके कुछ भी डिलीट भी कर सकता है, चेंज भी कर सकता है, कुछ नया भी लिख सकता है. बट फॉर एग्जाम्पल नाउ दैट वाज द फर्स्ट केस. ओके, नाउ व्हाट कैन बी अ सेकंड केस? दिशांक हैज मेड अ फाइल एंड इट हैज गिवन ओनली रीड परमिशन, राइट और एग्जीक्यूट नहीं है. तो अगर निश्चित को पासवर्ड भी मिल गया तो फिर व्हाट कैन निश्चित डू? ओनली रीड द कंटेंट्स. निश्चित कैन नाइदर चेंज एनीथिंग, कुछ डिलीट नहीं कर सकता है, कुछ लिख नहीं सकता है, नाइदर अगर वो कुछ प्रोग्राम है तो उसको एग्जीक्यूट भी नहीं कर सकता. So this is nothing but related to the logical view, or we call it as a logical view. This logical view keeps on changing depending upon the user and depending upon the information. Now can you come and access the computer lab or the system lab on which we work? No. Even if you come, you require that permission. पहले तो you should know what is the login of our system where we work. Login मिल भी गया तो different teachers have different folders. सबके folders anybody cannot access. If you have that permission of read, write and execute, you are allowed. But if you don't have, you cannot allow. Okay, you are not allowed. So we say it is a logical view. If it is read, it is a read logical view. If it is read, write, it is a read, write logical view. If it is read, write, execute, it is a read, write logical view. So this logical view changes depending upon what the information is and how the information is and to whom that information belongs to. Same we can take one more example of exam section. Exam section में आप जाके कोई भी फाइल को ओपन करके बैठ सकते हो क्या? नहीं. We require certain permissions to go and access that particular file. So the logical view with respect to files inside the exam section computer will be different. So we apply this read, write, access permissions on whom? We apply it on the files and the folders. Okay, that is what is the storage management. File is one of the storage inside your computer system. Like how you have RAM and ROM. RAM and ROM में data कैसे store होता है? Files और folders में. So that is the part of the storage management. Memory management becomes your RAM, ROM and all. Whereas your storage management is nothing but the type of the data inside that memory. So one of the type is file, another type is folder. Okay. Operating system maps the file in physical media and access them via the storage device. Maps the physical media and access means it has to first check क्या permission है. As I just explained, read, write, execute सब है तो सब कुछ access कर सकता है. But अगर सिर्फ read है तो उसको क्या access मिलेगा? Read का. Read, write है तो क्या access मिलेगा? सिर्फ read, write का. सारा है तो सारा मिलेगा. Okay. But by default there is one access which is common and that is read. सबको reading allowed है. Writing and execution keeps on changing. And when we learn Linux, we'll also learn that we can change these permissions also. Okay. And how are they written? They are written as XXX, or they can be written as 111, or they can be written as 000. Okay. So when I say, this is I am talking with respect to Linux. Huh? So when I say it read, write, execute. If I want to mark this, how will the system understand? It will be 111. So 111 मतलब क्या है? Read भी allowed है, write भी allowed है, execute भी allowed है. When I say 110, so read, write allowed है, execute allowed नहीं है. When I say 100, which means what? सिर्फ read ही allowed है. And XXX means what? Either you can use either you use 0 for execute or you use X for execute. Okay. That is how we represent whenever we want to give any commands or change with respect to any of the files. Now next is file management. So what we have seen, file क्या है? File एक storage unit है अपने computer का. Computer can store the information on several different types of media. It can store it in disk, it can store it in tapes, it can store it in optical disk. Optical disk मतलब CDs, DVDs, and magnetic disk and tape means floppy disk. Every device has a property. Let it be disk, CDs हो या floppy disk हो, हर एक या फिर फाइल या फोल्डर हो, हर एक चीज को अपना अपना प्रॉपर्टीज है. एक्सेस स्पीड. व्हाट इज एक्सेस स्पीड? बाय व्हाट रेट द इंफॉर्मेशन विल बी गिवन बैक टू द यूजर. तो अगर फ्लॉपी डिस्क यूज करोगे तो फ्लॉपी डिस्क का एक्सेस स्पीड इज लेस, इसलिए फ्लॉपी डिस्क यूज होना बंद हो गया और सीडीज यूज होना चालू हो गया. ओके, व्हाई? बिकॉज ऑफ द एक्सेस स्पीड. सेकेंड, फ्लॉपी डिस्क का कैपेसिटी एमबीज में है, सीडी का एमबीज एंड अभी इफ यू सी जीबीज में भी है. So that is what the another thing called as capacity, which is one of the property. Next is data transfer rate. That means at what rate I can copy paste the data. That is also one of the property. Second is access method. Access method means what? We will be studying that in detail in 7th chapter. Right now, let me just tell you, access can be sequential or index or linked allocation. Sequential means 1 2 3 4 एक्सेस करना है. तो फ्लॉपी में अगर मुझे नंबर 10 एग्जीक्यूट करना है तो आई हैव टू फर्स्ट एक्सेस 1 2 3 4 till 10 in line. If it is index, I will prepare a separate index and I will access the index date, automatically the data will be loaded. If it is link, I will give a link everywhere. 1 के बाद 3, 3 के बाद 6, 6 के बाद 7. So how will be the access method? First it will go to 1, 1 के बाद it will find the arrow is on 3. Go to 3, 3 के बाद arrow is on 5, go to 5, 5 के बाद arrow is on 7, go to 7, like this. Okay. So every of these media, let it be CD, DVD, anything, every one of them has different speed, different capacity, and different types of access method. Okay. So file is also one of the storage management, which is what? Collection of a data or information or programs. So I can have a file where the program is copied. I can run that file or I can run that program. I can put that file into the folder, load that folder into the particular software for executing the program. So what is a file? File mail, I can have numbers, alphanumeric numbers, binary numbers, and text also. So it is a combination of multiple things. And files are organized in directories. Which are those directories? C drive, E drive, F drive. So you have those files inside any of these directories or any of these partitions. Okay. What activities a file can do? File can be created, can be deleted. I can create a directory and put a file. If I delete a directory, all the files in that directory can be deleted. When I say manipulating means what? I am changing the contents of the file. If I say backup means I am going to make a same copy of that file into some another drive or maybe into my pen drive or my external hard disk. Mapping on secondary storage means what? If the file is in the RAM, I can copy the same file into my hard disk also. So when I take a data from main memory to hard disk, I call it as mapping it from main memory to secondary memory. So these are all the activities which can be done with respect to files. Now this has already been explained to you. Mass storage management. So main memory is small. If you lose the data in the main memory, if you have a copy in secondary memory, you can use that. But if your main memory is full, you can always use secondary memory for storing the data. Then you have free space management. What is free space management? Allocation and deallocation. एक बार allocate हो गया तो memory चली गई. But एक बार deallocate हो गया तो again that memory is free for storing some another information. So when I store some another information, what do? I do the allocation of new data with new memory. Okay. Then we have already seen this read, write, execute. What is this worm? It is write once, read many. That means you can write only one time, but you can read many a times. So along with this read, write, and execute permission, I can also set this worm permission for many of the files. Where, what does that worm means? I can write only once, but I can read that file multiple times. Okay. Then next we have caching. We also know what is this caching. Data is brought into the main memory. As it is used, it is copied in the cache. What is that cache memory? The memory which is inside the processor, one of the fastest memory. Therefore, it is called as fastest retrieval. So if I want the data should be executed in a faster way, I can bring it from the main memory inside the cache and execute it directly from the cache. But if your cache is full, you have to compulsorily execute from the main memory until and unless you do not delete the contents from the cache. Then we have also seen IO system, device, we have device drivers, we have device controller, we know the working of device driver and know the working of device controller also. And sometimes we can use this IO devices with respect to memory also. So जरूरी नहीं है हर एक data memory में हो. I can take the data from any of the external IO devices also. Like how I said, you can load it from the main pen drive, load it from external storage, load it directly from the CDs also. Okay. Is this understood up to here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We can change the command as ch mode. Yes. When I open the terminal or command prompt mein when I write ch mode followed by file name, first it will show me what are the current permissions, and then with the help of ch mode command I can change those permissions. So ch is nothing but change mode. There are permissions. There the permissions are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, it keeps on changing depending on what operating system you use. अगर विंडोज है तो विंडोज का परमिशन हमको कमांड की जरूरत ही नहीं, हम राइट क्लिक करके उसके प्रॉपर्टीज में जाके चेंज कर सकते हैं. लिनक्स है तो लिनक्स के कमांड्स अलग है, काली लिनक्स है तो काली लिनक्स के कमांड अलग है, यूनिक्स है यूनिक्स के कमांड्स अलग है. So it depends on what operating system it is. Okay. Is this part of the chapter understood to you?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
In the next chapter, in the next lecture, we will complete with the first lesson with only few topics, that is evolution of operating system, batch processing, sequential processing, multi-programming, multi-threading and multitasking. Apart from that, we have covered everything with respect to first chapter.